The story starts off with our crazy protagonist, Jack Aaron, meeting up with an equally crazy alchemist, Alice. He's here to ask her some real questions about this world and seek some answers, which probably only she would know. At first, Alice stared at him with puzzled eyes, because she didn't sense this guy earlier through her golems, just because this guy doesn't have any mana. Jack is the first one she has met without mana, but Jack skips the idle chatter and straight up asks about the important stuff he wants to know about. He wants to know about magic or mana sort of stuff in this world, and when she asks what exactly it is he wants to know, Jack starts off narrating his story from the beginning. The scene shifts to few hours back, and apparently Jack was on a mission as the most wanted bomber in the whole world. But in the middle of his mission, after he managed to retrieve the chip which was his mission, he asked headquarters to provide some backup, as it seems like enemy was prepared for him. He doesn't think it would be easy getting out of here by himself, judging by the surrounding situation he's in, but the only response he got was, there won't be any backup, and he will have to get out of there himself. Jack was pissed off at being abandoned in such a dangerous situation, and for the way he got treated just now, he will make sure to have those bastards pay back later if he makes it out alive. Jack tightens up his chest, swearing not to go down so easily and make it out of here alive by himself. Even though he's alone, he has plenty of show he can put on in this whole situation. He waited a few moments until the cars of enemies reached close enough. Then, he detonated a landmine he planted earlier as backup. Jack confirmed the situation. This was a declaration of war between him and those experts from the army. However, before moving further, Jack embraced the sight of explosions going off, and he made sure to plant a couple of them just in case he will need them later. He was the type to go all out in every mission, and when he noticed some guys made it in the building, it seems he will have some more fun with them. The army spotted him and immediately tried to chase him, but on the way, some of them got blown up by another explosive set by Jack, and the way bombs are set so precisely makes the enemies aware that they are up against none other than the bomber. Jack is waiting here with a mask on, recalling those guys are right about calling him the bomber, since that's the nickname his experience got him. He drops another bomb, and the moment it hits the ground, everyone tries to run away, but gets caught up in the smoke bomb mixed in with effective sleep powder. Jack made his way downstairs through the stairs, unbothered by the smoke thanks to the mask. When some of the army men spotted him, they began firing at Jack to not let him get away. But little did they know, Jack was coming for them instead and places his gun at one of the army guys' heads and shoots him without any hesitation. After that, he starts running away through the exit, and the enemies keep chasing after him as they need to retrieve that chip from him no matter what. But little did they know, Jack matched his timing perfectly with the bombs he set in the path and made it out of the range, while other guys chasing him got bombed away. The army guys became careful. There seemed to be more landmines set around this place, and while they were treading the path slowly and carefully, Jack stole one of their cars and calls them suckers as he drives away from the enemy's base, leaving the message they would need 100 more of them to have a chance at catching him. The enemies keep shooting and shouting at the bomber, while Jack manages to get away. After some time, he stops by a safe area to chug down a cola after another amazing job done. And once he's done with a sip, Jack wonders keenly if he should ditch this car since it's kinda too noticeable. But the very next moment, something like a magic circle opened up under his feet out of nowhere, and Jack was unsure what the hell was happening to him. Heck, the guy wasn't even a Japanese but an American. But the circle sucked him in and he wasn't able to make it out of it. Eventually, Jack went through a bright blinding flash before his eyes. The next moment he opened his eyes, only to find himself in an unknown place, something like the interior of a castle. And around him there were some citizens in weird, outdated attires along with some knights. All of them were staring at him, and it seems there were a couple of more people summoned along with him, by some king sitting on the throne. Jack doesn't understand. What the hell happened to him? Is he having some sort of dream? No, but why would he still have the cola in his hands then? Right then, a shorty and fancy outfit called out all the summoned ones and welcomed them to another world, moving on to introduce himself as Prime Minister Vilash and explaining the situation those guys are in, as they are summoned to another world. And the one who summoned them is Vilash himself, to play a crucial role in their army to fight off against the neighboring countries. One of the summoned ones asked the Prime Minister if they were really summoned to another world. Vilash confirmed his doubts, then proceeded with more explanation. They are the great heroes summoned to become the sword of their country and aid them in wars. Jack was casually chugging down cola, thinking if somebody was playing a prank on him. Now first, he would like to confirm their status right away, and when Jack looked at his status, he saw his skills were translation and bomb-making at some X++ rank. Well, it seems just anything goes in this world, and while the Prime Minister was checking others' statuses, Jack figures the reason he could understand these guys' words must be this translation skill. He can even understand those Japanese guys, who seem to be at level 80 already. Jack figures his skill must be special, Since this X++ rank doesn't seem to be normal, and it seems these guys would love to have a mass murderer like him on their side, as they want them to fight anyway. When the Prime Minister Vilash looked at Jack's status, he was shocked that his ability crossed the rank of even A+. He has never seen someone with such a high rank, and quickly orders his men to go and get some materials to make a bomb. Jack immediately understood what these things were at just one glance, and Vilash was impressed he caught on right away. Vilash wanted to see him use his X-rank skill, and Jack got right to it and started making a bomb right there. After he conjured up a bomb in front of everyone, it took him only a few minutes to create a bomb with rank F and explosive powder of 5. Jack was intrigued that he could also look at the bomb's features. But when Vilash analyzed the bomb, he thought it was just a normal bomb from every angle. It means protagonist's skill isn't that amazing, and it only ensured success rate in creating a bomb. It sounded like a very useful skill to Jack, but to Vilash it was useless, and he called it trash because who can't make simple bombs like this after a few tries? He was sure Jack won't have any difference even after leveling up either, which means he's a hopeless case as a hero. He turns to ask His Majesty what he thinks, since this guy is the only useless one out of everyone summoned. King also doesn't see much benefit in keeping a level 1 like him, and other heroes also eventually started making fun of him. Their chuckles were reaching Jack's ears, pissing him off, and the next moment the King S ordered his men to throw this useless trash out of his sight. Jack immediately got on his guard and prepared to fight them, but when his hand didn't feel his bag, he was dumbfounded, as he couldn't believe he left his bag behind at the gas station. Since he was in a disadvantageous situation, he surrendered instead of fighting against a clear numbers advantage. The Prime Minister wished he could have sold Jack to the slave market, but since he's that useless, he doubts Jack is worth much after all. Jack made it clear they are making a big mistake, trying to sell him, as there are a lot of people who will pay a fortune to hire him. But the Prime Minister simply slaps him off to quiet his running mouth, which just crossed the little boundary Jack was holding onto. He declared nobody gets to step on him, and if he loses his temper, it would take only a moment to fold the Prime Minister in half. Prime Minister Vilash warns him to keep his tone down and understand the situation he's in right now. And if he doesn't get it, Vilash takes it upon himself to knock some sense into our guy and have the knights punch him one after another. Jack was really mad, but he kept himself calm during the beating, knowing he needs to endure it for now, as it'll get him into more trouble if he tries anything in this situation. After decades of being a mercenary, he knows patience is the needed virtue in the current situation. And eventually, Vilash questions our guy if he finally understands now where his attitude will get him, probably even a death sentence. Jack observed the eyes of everyone, looking down on him, including the so-called summoned ones who were supposed to be heroes. He swears at them for daring to look down upon him, and makes up his mind to make them pay for daring to mess with him. The next second, he released himself from the knight's grasp and ambushed his way to the Prime Minister, landing a jab to his face. The Prime Minister bounced off the floor and got up, only to find his mouth bleeding from the hit, whereas Jack simply approaches and places a gun to Vilash's head, taking the shot without any drama or moment of hesitation. This brutal sight was witnessed by everyone present here, and they couldn't even process what just happened in just a few seconds. Jack is standing there beside the corpse of the Prime Minister, making it clear nobody must dare mess with him. The knights are all on alert and ambush Jack, but our guy isn't just a skilled bomber, but also a good combatant in even close range. So when the knights with guns shoot at him, Jack uses the body of a knight as his meat shield, then pokes a funny remark they must not like their comrade so much after all. He dropped the corpse and started moving around, and the knights thought they could handle a level 1 like him easily. But our guy clearly surpassed everyone in one thing right now: experience of killing people. He slashes the neck of an approaching knight, and the rest of them suffer the same fate by his hands without even getting a single hit on him. Jack was faster than they expected, and he remarks they should consider themselves lucky he's just level 1. The king couldn't tolerate this nonsense anymore and ordered his knights to kill this bastard. But the king made a huge mistake, catching our guy's attention, and Jack simply threw a grenade at the king as a thank you gift for summoning and messing up with him. He also left his business card, stating the price to hire him is $1 million, and he's well known by the name Bomber Mercenary. The grenade in King's hand goes off, while Jack jumps down the castle and escapes that hell in one piece. Thankfully, he's still got some useful gear on him, and launches the climbing rope at a tower, and gets away by swinging like Spider-Man. Bro just made the whole country his enemy in a cool way, and even got away after killing the Prime Minister and King like he's in some spy movie or something. But on his way out, he hears the knights speaking that their king ordered them to execute this otherworld bomber on sight. Jack is pissed off to know that King is still alive, even after taking a grenade literally in his hands. This situation is getting more troublesome for our guy. Then he notices a car moving on the road, surprising him to see that even though this world has cars and carriages, truly everything goes in another world after all. If he wasn't on the run, he would have cruised around this world and have fun. But that's not an option for him now, and he needs to hack a vehicle first and get out of the city. He's glad he's still got some gear which could help him in getting away, and probably face some geared-up guard as well and take his weapons. But then, he stops out of hesitation, because why the hell does he even need to have an escape plan? He was the victim here who got summoned without his will, and then they tried to screw him over. So why the hell is he the one running? Because those guys who dare mess with him should be the ones running away from him now. Jack's pride won't let him run away from a fight they started, and since those guys already crossed a line, he won't show mercy to them either. He then decides to infiltrate the royal castle to end this battle once and for all, taking his revenge on them. He kicked the royal guard and entered the core of the royal castle, killing everyone in the way and planning to plant a bomb to blow the whole castle away. But then his eyes fell upon something, and he stopped to ask a woman what was up there. She tells him that's the core of the city, which is a magic tool that controls all the magical mechanisms of the entire imperial capital. Simply put, the heart of the city. Jack's thought process was simple. If that's a core, that's exactly the place he should plant a bomb. The woman was shocked upon hearing that, and said that he can technically blow the whole city away with that, but he shouldn't do that because they won't be able to recreate another core. It's an extremely difficult process, and in the worst-case scenario, the whole empire would be blown away, killing every single person living here. But Jack only heard the part he wanted. It's possible to blow that thing away technically. So he helps himself with the skill, which guarantees the success chances of bomb making with anything. So it's worth a try, and Jack did some adjustments to the magic core, and he's successful in creating the most powerful bomb ever, with explosive power of almost 10 million, capable enough to blow away the whole city. Jack loves the masterpiece he just created, and the woman can't believe this mad guy really planted a bomb to blow the whole city away. When she tries to sneak away, Jack asks her while pointing a gun where she's heading off to. Aren't they partners in crime since she helped him? But the woman begs him to spare her life since she already helped him, and can just let her go. Jack admits she indeed helped him, but, well, he shoots her anyway, not leaving a single witness alive out of hobby. He doesn't feel any hesitation in killing her, and before even the smoke clears up from his gun, he heads off to find a good spot to enjoy the beautiful scenery when he detonates this bomb here. Meanwhile, some more guards arrived after sensing a strange magic reaction around here, only to be smashed by our friendly neighborhood bomber with bare hands. He asks the other guy if he has a car. He'd like to borrow it only for a minute. He literally takes the guy's car and still kills him, after which he drives far away from the imperial city to have the perfect view. Since those bastards were the first one to mess with him, he detonates the bomb without any second thoughts while cursing them. The bomb goes off, and the entire imperial city is wiped out along with it. Our MC watches the whole thing go down in rumbles from start to finish, until there was no single sign left of the civilization that was present there just a few moments ago. Jack couldn't believe his eyes. He really did it, and that was an absolute cinema. And he enjoyed the sight so much he couldn't stop laughing out of joy. With all that said, Jack concludes his story until now to the alchemist Alice before him, and states that's why he wants to find a way back to his world. And when he came to hear stories of an alchemist who might know something, he arrived here to pay her a visit, hoping she would know a way back home for Jack. She just sits there, staring at our guy with cold eyes, while our guy is smiling just by recalling the blast. Alice asks him again, did he really blow up the imperial capital? He confirms it twice, but Alice doesn't believe him and thinks he's just joking around. He claims he's not joking either, and he's sure that will become big news soon enough. Alice thinks even if he got help from imperial mages, it was just impossible and ridiculous to turn the city's core into a bomb, especially when she doesn't sense any mana from him either. He states he's not a magic user. Heck, he can't even lit up a fireball to save his ass back then. Though he still got something special and unique. So he shows her his status, and she looks through it carefully. She's visibly a little bit shocked to think these are real stats, with that EX++ rank bomb skill. She now has a little faith in his story, and thinks he wasn't lying after all. She explains that in terms of ranks, it's normal to see the maximum ranks reaching A at most, and in his case, he not only crosses that rank, but even has a double plus behind it, which means his power is beyond mankind's knowledge, and it could truly turn the impossible into possible. Man, that sounds cool and all to our protagonist, and he feels proud even though he doesn't get it all. She points out he's speaking like it's someone else's problem, and why not, since Jack was innocent here, and he was just given that skill by those guys unprompted. Although now he's starting to kinda like it, then she pointed out the number in his stats were crazy. Jack was also curious about it, and he mentions that a few hours after bombing the city, his car gave up and he wondered what the hell is supposed to do now. He thinks he should have asked someone for a way home before blowing up the city, but well, his instincts and pride got the better of him after they provoked him. Damn. Man has his priorities straight as he misses bringing any cigarettes along, then out of nowhere his stats showed up suddenly before his eyes, startling the heck out of Jack. Jack was annoyed by this weird world, always forcing things on him. Then he noticed in his stats that his level has crossed 385, which is odd considering he was just level 1 when he arrived here. Moreover, he also has a class of bomber, with his karma being negative 600. The only thing he could think of which may have contributed to it was him blowing up the entire city and gaining a huge amount of experience points. Although, he has played games a little, and one thing he knows is that mostly levels are capped at level 99 or something, but here he was 385 like it's no biggie, which means he must have become that strong as well, so he tried testing it out by a little sprint, and Jack ended up literally running faster than even a car, and he can't stop himself from this uncontrollable speed. Jack ends up hitting a rock wall, which somehow helped him stop, and this gave him an idea of his crazy strength. He had a rock in his hands which got easily crushed by simply gripping it tightly, and Jack liked how powerful he had become. This makes him feel like he's become Superman, and since he was thinking about it, he wanted to try to see if he could fly as well. He tried jumping, and that's it. He came down naturally by gravity, realizing he can't fly but he can easily break Olympic records in high jumps with this strength. Since he could run so fast now, he decided to find a town by running. Back to the present, Alice thinks his story is ridiculous, just like his levels. Yet the fact there are no signs of forging status means these were true. Jack was glad she understood it. He didn't know what to do if he got questioned again. She asked him puzzled, "What does he mean again?" Jack mentioned he was kinda questioned by the guards at the town's gate earlier, and when they saw his negative 600 karma, they were shocked, as this guy literally broke all the worst records there were in history. On top of that, his level 385 seemed totally fake, which called for them to arrest him right there and then, because someone like him was clearly dangerous to be in their town. Jack was worried how he was supposed to explain himself with such a good status, and people would welcome him everywhere with predetermined hostility. She asked him if, how the heck did he get through the guards? Jack paused for a moment and claimed he just had a friendly chat with them, which obviously wasn't the case and he literally broke their jaws and shot some of them down. Lastly, he also left a bomb as a gift for them, but here he claims he just gave them something precious and they let him through. Sure, like Alice would buy that story from a mass murdering bomber who literally blew up the entire imperial city. She then asked him where did he go after that. He replied that he walked around asking people one by one how could he return back to his home, and eventually some nice folks offered to help him. But in reality, they were just some thugs, and he had a beef with them as well. After beating them up a little, he interrogated them at gunpoint about his problem, and they said a witch lives here in this town and she might be able to use space magic. When he questioned more about this witch, they said she's an alchemist in this town who makes a living by selling home-brewed potions. There were rumors suggesting that the witch holds an immense power, and once upon a time some morons tried to break into her house to rob her, but they were never seen again. Since then, nobody messes with the witch. That's how he reached Alice's house, but earlier he kind of expected that there would be some evil and ugly old hag. Alice admits usually that would have been the case, and that aside, she was kind of curious about his skills. She saw the time and mentioned it's around time for dinner. She asked Jack if he would like to join for a meal. Jack accepted her warm offer, since my guy hasn't eaten anything since he arrived in this world. Alice clapped, saying she'll get their dinner served at once, and soon enough, Jack saw something approaching them from behind. They were golems carrying pots and dishes in their hands, and Jack was intrigued to know what these things are. She told him they were golems created by her, and they listened to her orders. Jack thought it must be part of her alchemy, and it's amazing they follow every command like robots. Alice doesn't know what robots are, but she has these golems to carry out her daily chores. Now the dinner was served, she asked him to help himself and eat. Jack observed the food didn't look very much different from his world, and it also smells great. And this girl here doesn't have any reason to poison his food either. It kind of made him wonder if she got something like a crush on him or something, to invite him to dinner on first meeting. But even if there were no alerting signs, he was still on guard, since he was after all in the witch's cottage where no one returns from. He sliced some meat from the dish, thinking if Alice tries to pull a fast one on him, he'll show no mercy even to her. After taking a bite, Jack kind of liked the delicious taste of the food, but he wished he could have some salt in it though. Alice was looking at him, as if she could see through him. She then mentioned to him that if he wants to return to his world, he would have to use reverse summoning magic, which isn't impossible, but still quite difficult. For that, they'll need to research a lot on the magic circle and would have to procure a lot of materials and all, which makes it a task requiring help from a large organization. For example, a country. Jack has heard of that before. That reverse summoning is the only thing that can send him back home. But that's not an easy magic to use, and besides they are so secretive that countries never publish details on them. Although, the fact Alice didn't say it's impossible gives him some hope, and now he just needs to procure materials and equipment for both himself and this reverse summoning. He wonders if he should just become a mercenary for a country or something, but even if he gets hired, it's not sure things would go as planned. And with this giant status window with him, screaming out his profession as bomber, He can't mask his identity either. He doesn't like living with restraints, so there will be a lot of hurdles if he wants to reach each goal. He considered if he were to find himself in trouble while working for a country, he could always have a trump card to have some leverage to implode the city's core. It's kind of hard for him to not go around blowing up cities, knowing how fun it is to explode the city cores. His urges are becoming hard to handle. Then Alice asks him what he's stressing about. He replies that just thinking of working for a country sounds bad. Just then, they heard some screams from the outside along with some lightning. Jack asked her what is that. She mentioned someone must have triggered the spell on gates, which she installed to ward off intruders from her home. Though it seems Jack was easily able to walk through it without any problem. Jack recalls he did feel a little sting when crossing the door, but it was negligible and he just barged in asking for alchemist. He tells her it did hurt a little. Alice explains that it's strong enough to knock out any normal person, and it seems the guy who just got stung by it is fine as well even after being hit. She noticed the guy at the gate had strange clothing, making her wonder if he's Jack's friend. Jack asks her if he really looks like someone who has friends in this world, and when he went over the window to check out this guy, surprisingly he recognized the man, and the guy over there is also visibly pissed when he sees Jack here. Jack recalls that man was one of those summoned ones who laughed at him before, and he tells Alice that he's a familiar face indeed, but he thought that guy got blown up in the city core's explosion. How the hell did he survive that? While the guy called out to Jack, claiming he finally found the bastard and shouted at Jack to get down there right now. Jack figures it'll be better if he avoids getting Alice involved in this fight, so he heads outside, while Alice plans on observing him from here, as he claims he got something to do with that man over there. Just when he's about to go out, she asks him to be careful, which makes him kinda curious why she said so. Alice mentioned that guy outside might be dangerous, and he harbors an immense hatred towards Jack for some reason. Jack is surprised she could tell that, and he assures her he'll be careful, and will surely come back since he has a few more questions for her. Jack knows it's not going to be a simple chat with that reincarnated guy, and he can't rely on his gun's remaining bullets either. To start off, he simply greets the man with a, "Yo," but the man openly expressed hostility for our guy. Well, nothing Jack didn't expect, and he asked the guy straight up why he is alive. He thought the man had been blown up to ashes by now. The man replies he has been looking all over for Jack, and he can't believe he found him in the first town he came across. He hates Jack for blowing up the entire imperial capital, to which Jack replies it was a given, since those dudes in the royal capital were on some ridiculous shits and got what they deserved. The man knew it. Jack is a crazy guy for real, and now he will put him down at once for his evil actions. Jack ensures the gate isn't discharging the lighting before he heads out casually in front of the furious guy. Whereas the guy asks Jack if he even knows how many people died by his actions. Jack replies casually, "Nope," and he doesn't want to know either since it got nothing to do with him either. The man questions, doesn't Jack at least feel some remorse at all? Jack answers if he knows remorse is, he wouldn't be called a bomber, you know. Ever since he became a mercenary in the previous world, all he knew was killing, and eventually he even lost track of kill count a long time ago. And if he were to feel guilty for every bomb he ignited, there would be no point in him being a mercenary. Besides, he asked the reincarnated guy why the hell is he alive since the explosion was powerful enough to bring down the whole city along with it, so he shouldn't have been still standing at all. The guy replied, it's thanks to his skill that he survived, and actually, every other reincarnated person also survived as well with their own skills. He let Jack know he's not the only one blessed with cheat skills, and now even if other reincarnated ones don't want to collaborate with each other, he knows for a fact that all of them are definitely plotting to take him down. Jack thinks even if that's the case, those bastards who laughed at him are still alive, and he can't still idle knowing his targets are still alive. That hurts his pride on having a solid record until now, and to satisfy himself, he will blow them up next time for sure, otherwise Jack might just lose his sleep over his excitement to have targets to blow up. The hero is pissed to see how terrible this bomber is as a person. Then Jack tells the hero he shouldn't have told him all this. It kind of ruined the element of surprise for him. Hero claims he told him so to plant the seed of despair into him. After all, Jack should deeply regret his actions. And even if he doesn't, Hero doesn't care telling him one thing or two, since he is going to die at his hands anyway. Jack is intrigued to see this man being so confident about killing him. And maybe in another world, this man might forget about revenge and live peacefully. So Jack takes it upon himself as a responsibility to send this guy to another world. He provokes the hero to come at him, guaranteeing that he will blow him into pieces this time for sure. The hero is annoyed by Jack and charges at him with his katana, declaring he will perform his duty as the Empire's hero, so that he could return to his original world and live without worry. The hero recalls in his whole life, he had been a man to live while avoiding getting into any troubles himself. He always believed those who get caught up in troubles were pathetic losers. He boasts pride in being at least better than those who get in trouble. Even if all he does, he makes sure to avoid troubles. He lived his life the same way since elementary school, high school, and even at work. And one day it got him in trouble when the director of the company he worked at was furious at him for selling the company secrets to their competitors for his own gains. The man didn't care about that since even after he worked just as much as any other guy in the company, he was the only one who didn't get a raise, which he thought was absurd, so he just got back at the company in his own way. He blamed the company's fault for not recognizing his potential, and in answer to his pleadings, the light appeared and the man found himself summoned to another world. He believed this was his second chance to regain his honor and the well-deserved life based on his potential. But even that was ruined, just because of this bomber bastard who just had to blow up the entire city. However, before he swings his sword, Jack asks him to stop for a moment, only to ask him for his name first before they fight. The man wonders why Jack wants to know his name. Jack replies, if he didn't know his name now, it would be a real pain in the ass to build the guy's grave later. Without any warning, Jack sneakily fires a couple shots at the hero, but the hero managed to deflect all the bullets with a barrier and send them all back at Jack. Jack was a little bit caught off guard by the bullets, but he managed to dodge them, even if it grazed him a little. More bullets came at him, and thankfully they didn't touch him. The bullets still passed through and hit the walls of Alice's house. Jack observed how those bullets were deflected, and the hero got some interesting magic on him. The hero replied, it's one of his skills, a perfect reflection ranked A+, which deflects every damage aimed towards him with double power. It's thanks to this skill that he managed to survive the explosion at Capitol. No matter the damage thrown at him, it's useless as long as he has this invincible skill. He approaches our MC and before striking him, he wishes him luck for hell and shares his name before killing him, as Manita Kuji. Jack thanks Kuji for sharing his name, and once Kuji was close enough, he pulls out his dagger and attacks Kuji, out of nowhere, catching him off guard and saying he will make sure to remember his name for his grave later. But the dagger was deflected by Kuji's barrier as well, and the double damage was directed back at Jack. Jack dodged it, then pulled out his pistol and fired shots at him. But they were also deflected, and Kuji told him it was useless, following up with multiple swings of his katana. Thanks to his agility, Jack was able to dodge the incoming attacks, but it was troublesome that his attacks were constantly defected by the barrier. Jack bounced back and was pretty annoyed by the barrier, and even his gun ran out of bullets. Kuji laughed at him, then swung his blade again. Jack had the upper hand in agility and combat skills, so he easily dodged. Kuji warned him he should have realized it already. He doesn't stand a chance against Kuji no matter what he does. Jack simply asked Kuji what his level was. Kuji replied his level is 80, which is definitely stronger than normal people. But when Jack outright told his level is 385, Kuji flinched and called him a liar. But Jack guaranteed he's not babbling, and he got a great amount of experience points from blowing up the Capitol. Kuji was pissed off, but still declared even though Jack's level is higher than him, it's actually better for Kuji, because it just means he'll be able to deal all the more damage to Jack. Jack knows inside that straight up attacking Kuji like this would be suicidal, and Jack is lucky that Kuji don't have any combat experience. Jack didn't want to give Kuji any chance to land a hit on him, so he kept dodging and avoiding his attacks, while wondering just how he could kill Kuji in this situation, under such disadvantage. Kuji shouted, why can't Jack just give up, since he doesn't have a chance against him? And even if he runs away, it'll only delay his death, and Jack will definitely receive judgment for his deeds. Jack called it a load of crap and said Kuji is just wasting his time, nothing more. Kuji was on edge and questions why Jack seems so confident. There's no chance he can turn this situation around. Jack laughed it off and told Kuji not to be so overconfident, and he should not make the mistake of thinking he's invincible. All that awaits arrogance is destruction, and he'll teach him a lesson starting now as Jack charges at Kuji. He simply reached out his hand and managed to hold his cheek, then spread his arms and legs around Kuji's body, pulling him in for a deadlock. Jack was successful in this attempt, and he plans on slowly putting Kuji in a painless chokehold, which seems like a loophole in Kuji's perfect reflect skill. He just needed to restrict Kuji's movements with a slight touch and hold him down. That way, there wasn't any damage to be reflected. Kuji told him to let go. It was no use. But Jack simply kept his deadlock and gave a gift to Kuji, which was the same bomb he crafted at the royal castle before with just 5 explosive power. He put the bomb inside Kuji's mouth and used a lighter to light up the bomb. Kuji tried to retaliate, but Jack won't let him go and told Kuji not to be so picky and simply eat this bomb, which he made in front of everyone that time, and they laughed at it. Jack knows its explosive power is low and normally won't even put a dent on anyone. But after it exploded inside Kuji's mouth, Jack simply kept Kuji's mouth closed tightly with his hands. Jack was plotting that damage inside Kuji's mouth will eventually keep doubling inside him, until it reaches the limit of what Kuji can handle. Jack doesn't care if people have started gathering around them and watching the fight. He's simply waiting for Kuji's insides to be blown away eventually. Kuji's panicking, knowing what's coming for him if this keeps up. But suddenly Kuji becomes calm, which was kinda surprising for Jack. But suddenly, Kuji's expression grew all blue and pale when the explosion filled up all the way to Kuji's stomach. Kuji's whole body became filled with the explosive power, which was doubling at every second, making his body swell up like a balloon. Jack teases Kuji. Does he want Jack to save him? Kuji signals yes with a nod, in which case Jack tells him to forgive him in that case and treat Jack like a friend from now on. More people gathered by all the noise, while Kuji was constantly begging with nods and humming to be released. Jack smirked and lifted Kuji up, saying, since they are friends now, he will commemorate their newly established friendship by playing ball game. And catch is, Kuji is the ball himself. He throws Kuji like a ball, announcing they should enjoy every last second of it. But the moment Kuji is released, all the explosive power inside him was so much that it couldn't fit in the way outside through his mouth and just exploded, like a huge bomb detonated in the middle of the town. Jack laughed at this wonderful sight, applauding his trick shot and feeling a bit disappointed he could only enjoy this performance once. People entered a state of chaos from the explosion right in front of their eyes, and they started running away from this crazy bomber. Jack felt disgusted by all these people. Why the heck did they even come here when they didn't even stay to watch the whole scene? He wishes they would have some decency in the least, after which our insensitive bomber protagonist went back inside Alice's house and greeted her again. Sorry to keep her waiting for long. She welcomes him back with the same old emotionless face and asks him if he's fine since he is a bit injured. Jack tells her no worries at all. He just needs a little drink and a short nap, and he'll be just fine. Sorry, she doesn't have any alcohol here. Listening to Jack feels a bit damned and simply decides to go out and get some himself. Alice tells him before he heads out, he should wash that blood off him. Alice shows him the bathroom and tells him to make himself feel at home. Jack thanked her for good hospitality, but he doesn't know if he can really take much of a rest here after all that happened. He asked her, won't this situation that happened just now make her image as witch worse, and people will fear her more? Alice ignores it and tells him he's free to stay here regardless if he wants. Jack figures staying here is way better compared to sleeping in an abandoned house or some slums, so he accepts the offer and takes a bath. He kind of wonders why Alice is being too kind to him, and he doesn't know for sure if rumors about her were true or not. He could feel something about her behavior was odd, so he doesn't think she's helping him out of the kindness of her heart. And Jack is aware he's not the kind of guy who others will like at all. Thus, it's confirmed she's doing this for some other reason, and he wonders if she will jump at him in the shower or something like that. When he got out of the bath, he was welcomed by the sight of golems with his clothes in their hands. Jack got on guard and asked what they were up to, but the golems just left his clothes behind and ran away. Jack looked at his clothes and noticed they were dry cleaned, which must have been Alice's idea, and it made him even more unsure about her. He gets out of the bath and greets her, following up with a thanks for cleaning the blood and mud off his clothes. Alice notices Jack's wounds have already healed, and Jack is also amazed to see his injuries disappear like a lie, and his limbs don't feel sore anymore either. It's probably due to high-level recovery from his status, which is really wonderful. Alice doesn't think he will need any healing then, in which case she shows him the guest room he'll be staying at. Jack thinks the bed looks pretty comfortable. Then Alice asks him what she should call him, since he hasn't introduced himself to her yet. Jack tells her she could just call him Jack. Then she mentions to Jack that he has a pretty strong spirit and she likes that. Jack laughs it off, since he thinks instead of a strong spirit, people usually say he's insensitive or arrogant. But Alice affirms that he's a very rare kind of specimen, which is also why the moment she laid her eyes on him, she was interested in him and thus invited him into her mansion. Jack thought she had love at first sight or something, and he can't help it since he's so handsome after all. But to his surprise, Alice claims she likes mad people like him, and it's never not entertaining gazing into the filth that is in his soul. Jack isn't sure if that's something to be proud of, so he'll just take it as a compliment. Now, the mention of his soul reminds him how Alice pointed out before that hero Koji stomached an intense hatred towards him. He asks if she can see things like emotions, to which she replies it's just a bit, and she can only see hues of emotions and spirits, but it's nothing close to mind reading. Jack thinks that's a convenient power. Then she states that that's everything he wanted to say. He should rest now. They call it a night, and Jack sleeps soundly the whole night. In the morning, Alice comes in after knocking on the door a few times and just stares at our MC for a while until he wakes up. He gets up and greets her in the morning. She wished him back and told him his breakfast was ready. Jack was amazed, since never had someone come to wake him up like that, and if she had any other plans, she would have already done something while he was sleeping. Although, he hates being cared for, without getting to repay someone, so it kinda leaves a bad taste in his mouth. Over breakfast, he was quietly eating when Alice asked him how the food was today. Jack liked the breakfast so much that if there was a restaurant with it, he would be a regular there. Alice mentions she tried going heavier on seasoning, since Jack didn't seem satisfied yesterday. Jack remembers now the dinner did lack a bit of salt, and to think she caught on to that as well is kinda scary. He apologized if it was rude. She assured him she doesn't hold a grudge. It's just her sense of taste is weak, so she doesn't know which flavors are good or not. Now, Alice asks what Jack is going to do now. Jack answers clearly that he wants to return to his world, and while he's at it, he also wants to murder those so-called heroes who laughed at him. He wants to get back at them before they even get the chance to take their revenge on him. Alice figures that sounds tough and roots for him. And actually, she wants to see more of his skills after this meal. Jack didn't get what she meant at first. She points out her curiosity for his X++ ranked bomb skill. Jack asks her to give some materials and he'll show her. Alice likes the idea, while Jack doesn't think anything bad could happen. After breakfast, Alice takes him into the basement where she brews her potions. And there are explosive materials as well. But after looking around a bit, Jack is confused because he can't distinguish these materials even if he can read the labels with translation. Alice gives him a bottle with a magic fluid, made with mana used to make magic tools and vehicle fuels. The higher the purity, the more expensive it is. This here is bodily fluid from magic beasts, a slight touch of which can cause severe burns, and that bottle there is vegetable fluid, which is flammable. It can also be used to brew wine, but she advises him not to drink it just as it is. Jack was kind of going to do just that, and now, after her explanation, he has a better idea of these materials and already has plans to make some bombs. She gave him a recipe for a bomb with ratios of materials. Jack takes the paper and after reading it, he thinks something isn't right in it. Alice asks him what's wrong. Jack states the mixing ratio doesn't seem to be quite right, but she assured it's right, claiming she knows these things quite well as an alchemist and he can trust her recipe. Jack decides to get started with it then, and after 5 minutes, he makes 3 bombs with 1,000 explosive power. Jack is amazed by his own creativity, as guess bombs were far more powerful than the firecracker he made at the castle. Alice takes a closer look of the bomb from all angles. Then she looks up at him with intentional eyes, stating he's really amazing because she actually gave him wrong mixing ratios, and yet he successfully crafted the bombs. Jack asks her to repeat that. Alice explains she actually gave him a recipe that no man has ever succeeded in, and here Jack made 3 of them just fine, which normally would be impossible. Jack is sure his feeling was right in that case, and he didn't expect Alice to give him the wrong recipe just to test his skill. He asks her if she's happy now, since his skill ensures the success of bomb making, which if used correctly is unparalleled to anything else. Alice admits he's right about that. Then she calls his name, adding that there's something she wants to ask of him. Finally, Jack knew something was up, and he asked her to go on and say what it is. But her wish was totally unexpected, as Alice wished to destroy this world. And with a straight face, she asked him if he would be so kind as to lend her a helping hand in blowing up the whole world. Even Jack is astounded by her wish and asks her to repeat again. Did he hear her right? Alice repeats she wants to destroy this world and would like to ask him to assist her. Jack kindly replies that it sounds a bit too much and asks her details behind this very reasonable wish of hers. She decides to share her story with him over tea, and once both of them are comfortable, she starts off, saying a long time ago, there existed a certain dark mage. That woman had an ambitious goal, but unfortunately, her short lifespan didn't give her enough time to see her goals come true. She hated these mortal limitations and ended up creating a forbidden technique, a spell that inherits power and knowledge to the next life. She refused to stop at death and passed her goals on to her next lives. But then Jack interrupts, exclaiming out of joy, it sounds awesome. To see that dark mage's ambition was so large, she ended up getting into forbidden stuff, and she must have turned into a monster by now. Alice corrects it's the opposite, and she actually remained a human by wish. That dark mage could have found immortality in her so many lives and lived forever. Yet she refused to do so, only to achieve her goal as nothing but a normal human. Jack connects all the dots and comes to the conclusion that Alice is the reincarnation of that dark mage. Alice agrees with him while keeping the same emotionless expression, but corrects him on one thing. Even though she's that dark mage's reincarnation, she's actually not her. And even though she inherited her powers and will, she's still mentally a different being. Jack asks if it means the dark mage is already dead. In that case, Alice nods in a yes, adding that the dark mage understood her own mediocrity and feared that if she remained the same person, she would never achieve her goals and changes were necessary to be made to make her dreams come true. Thus, she just chose to live countless lives, cultivating countless experiences and skills. Jack sips the tea while listening to her, as she claims to be the 13th life of that dark mage. Her alchemy skills come from the 2nd life, golem magic comes from 6th, magic tools. Craftsmanship comes from 9th, and lastly, her spiritual sensation comes from 13th life, which is current one. Jack admires her willpower to keep so much patience with the same plan, even in so many lives. And to put it simply, her ultimate goal is to destroy the world. Damn, he doesn't get all these geniuses with twisted brains and plans of world domination. Alice corrects that she's not a genius, just someone with powers accumulated from previous lives. And that aside, the real reason why she wants to destroy the world is because her goal is to be the greatest alchemist ever. Jack doesn't understand why the heck does it have to do with destroying the world. She just thinks world domination sounds like the greatest achievement ever, because no one has done it before. So if she can do that, she would be deserving to be called the ultimate existence ever, and no one will be born to replace her title as the greatest. That's what the Dark Mage's goal is all about. And Jack sighs, claiming he gets her story now, is also sure about one thing. She's just one of those mad scientists. Jack did notice it earlier that she wasn't a normal kid, but it turns out she's far more dangerous than he thought. Alice feels something from his spirit hues and asks if she's disgusting. Jack refuses. It's not like that. And it's amazing she got a strong determination for her goals there. He acknowledges her, because he knows better it's not evil to step on others to achieve self-goals. It's natural. If one gets beaten up by someone, the moment one goes down, they'll be known as the bad guy. On the other hand, if one takes down all those who come in their way and achieve their dream, they'll be hailed as the most righteous man ever. No matter where one is, the world keeps revolving around this same rule. Strong ones will always consume the weak, and only they can walk freely. Alice thanks him. It makes her genuinely happy since he's the first one who understood her. Now, she mentions she has a lot of knowledge and talent, and can also prepare bomb-making equipment. She might as well be able to someday help him out with returning back to his world with her magic. So she assures him he should help her destroy the world without any worries. Jack asks if she really thinks he can plant a bomb that blows up the whole world. Alice nods, confirming his ability seems capable enough to do so, and it was already proven the moment he blew up the entire capital. She reaches out her hand to seal the deal. Jack looks at her hand and gets up, stating that destroying the world is kind of outside his usual pay grade, but since it sounds interesting, he will definitely be looking forward to it. Alice is happy as he shakes hands with her, being glad to have someone like her working with him, and he'll live hell of a life in this other world. Alice nods in, confirming they will help each other out from now on, and Jack is fine with anything, as long as he gets to go back home. He has a feeling, even if Alice may be a lunatic, she's a genius lunatic, and since her goal didn't interfere with his, the most dangerous duo in the world was formed. Later, Jack asked Alice if he could use her mixing room to make some weapons for himself. She allowed him in, and stated she had confirmed his skills carefully, so now what's left for her to figure out is to find a method to destroy the world. She'll be downstairs if he needs anything. Jack nods to her, and once she leaves, he thinks carefully that he gotta keep an eye on her as well, to ensure he'll get out of this world before she destroys it. He's sure that if one day she figures out a way to destroy the world without Jack's bombs, she'll definitely betray him. It's clear just by her 13 lives, which she spent just to destroy the world with her unwavering persistence. Compared to her, he's just a cute little bomber. Jack sets materials, guns, blades, and everything he has on hand right now. He can't help but feel uneasy with that empty gun and a broken knife. He feels disappointed as he left his bag behind in the previous world. It had most of his ammunition. Well, no point in crying over spilled milk and gotta think positive. At least it's not the worst thing that could have happened, compared to how Jack was once thrown out in the snow with nothing but his underwear. If that's the standard, even staying here with a witch sounds nicer. Moreover, he got clothes, food, a roof, and also a bomb-making room. And no matter what ingredients he uses, thanks to his X++ skill, he can make bombs even using the strangest materials out there. After a while, he finishes making some tear gas bombs, and they seem pretty promising since they were made possible thanks to his skill. He's experimenting a lot on different kinds of bombs he can make, and in between, Alice was reading books downstairs. Alice had a golem keep taking care of Jack with tea and snacks, whereas Alice noticed something was off outside the window. Jack completed several bombs of all kinds for various situations, and he still thinks it's not much at all. He kinda wanted to try crafting a magic bomb, since he'll eventually have to face enemies with magic. And since he got a mage helping him right here, he decides to take her help a little with her witch knowledge and all, but when he calls out her name, he stops midway, when he notices outside the window something crazy. The whole house was surrounded by dozens of knights, and he came running downstairs, asking Alice if they sent out invitations to these guys or what. She told him it's the army, and Jack asks her a dumb question. What does she know about this ambush? Alice replies she's a clean, tax-paying citizen of this town, so these guys are definitely here for Jack. Jack can't just get some rest from these guys, and he claims to be an honest, God-fearing man as well. But honestly, it doesn't seem to be the case. The commander of the night declares a warning, meant for the bomber in hiding to come out and surrender himself immediately. Like hell Jack would do so, and the knights threaten to take his life if he resists. Alice asks Jack to be serious, since he's here laughing at death's door. Jack thinks it's time for some action and gets to gather his bombs and prepare for the war, since surrendering is not an option. The hell he would let anyone threaten him, the best mercenary in the world, and he should be the one threatening them. Before he barges out with all his bombs, Alice stops him and says he should calm down, and she advises him to make an escape. But even if he does that, Jack isn't sure if these guys will leave them alone though, so there's no better way than just kill them all right here when they are gathered in one place. Alice claims she got the perfect transport to get them out of here, and asks him to follow her. She guides him to a room, claiming it's her first time showing it to anyone as she opens the door, and it's pretty dark in here. Lights turned on, and Jack witnessed a cool baby parked right here in this spot, a car of another world. He asks Alice for an explanation right away. She informs him it's a special vehicle made with a combination of 10 golems, and in every sense it's superior to a horse. She prepared it as a backup, just in case she had to travel one day, and it turns out the day came earlier than expected. Jack is out of words, and he can't help but feel blessed to be working with such a genius like her. Although Alice repeats she's no genius, just a successor, Jack doesn't care and praises her for being so great, throwing the self-conscious talks aside. Alice is a little bit moved to get such genuine praise from him, after which Jack starts ogling the car from every angle. Out of nowhere, Alice remarks, Jack is a good guy. Jack knows he is one, especially with the ladies. And that aside, he asks her to quickly pack her stuff so they could take this baby out and get some reactions out of those soldiers. Alice is starting to enjoy his company, while the knights are struggling to cross the gates of the house due to the lightning barrier. Commander curses his men for not being able to even get a hold of a mere mansion. He thinks it should be a piece of cake getting through this alchemist house. But the soldiers, who have failed at it, claim it's not a mere alchemist house but literally a witch's hut. And it's hard to see that a criminal bomber took shelter. Here of all places. Suddenly, golems emerged from behind the knights and ambushed them, and the knights' formation was thrown into chaos by surprise. Jack laughs as he watches from inside, liking the golems even more now. Alice mentions golems won't keep them busy for long since knights have more advantage in numbers. After packing is done, she hands him the keys to the car, and our guy turns it on, all ready to put on a show with it. Alice asks if he'll need autopilot, but Jack denies, as he believes in his driving and tells her to just watch him smash this car through the crowd out there. Alice feels a little nervous. Then Jack tells her to think of this as a car date, for which he himself is a bit nervous. Now, Alice lets him know she'll be opening up the wall in front of them, and Jack gives her the signal. She chants spells and the wall lowers, confusing the knights with what's happening. Jack switches the gears and asks Alice to sit tightly, as he jumps the car outside in one acceleration, landing it straight on the soldiers. He only keeps speeding it up, liking all the destructive drive as he slams it way out of the city through the humans. When the commander sees him getting away, he's extremely pissed off and swears not to let that bastard who booked the capital to escape. But Jack isn't going to be stopped by anything now, as he smashed the commander along with his knights like bowling pins, sending them flying meters away from where they were standing. Alice notices their view is blocked by the blood, so she just turns on the wiper to clear the view, and Jack keeps his foot on the accelerator as he drives away successfully from the knights. Knights contact other troops in formation, and mages casted magic attacks, aimed at the wheels, but the car's speed doesn't slow down one bit as Jack's really enjoying himself. He calls this car a freaking monster, asking Alice if bullets and magic are even a threat to this car. She replies it's not entirely impenetrable, but it's pretty tough since it's made of 10 golems and is coated with a magic resistance spell. That's exactly what Jack wanted to hear. Then, Alice adds, there's something more, and she plays the radio installed in the car. Jack is delighted to hear some rock music in the car, liking Alice's preferences a lot. Alice replies that her fifth life was as a musician, so she knows a lot about music as well. And this song contains magic to boost dynamic vision and excitement of the listener. Jack could feel it, and after experiencing so many crazy things, he wondered if there's anything this world doesn't have. Later on, Alice notices pursuers on the bike and alerts Jack about them, and it seems they were about to shoot at them. But it's ain't anything Jack wasn't ready for, as he takes out a bomb with one hand and has Alice light it for him. He throws the bomb in the middle of the pursuers and the bomb explodes, releasing smoke in front of the pursuers, troubling their vision and also hurting their eyes and noses with stimulants similar to chili peppers. It's quite a useful bomb, and he follows up with some real bombs once there's enough distance. Bet they won't recover from it easily, but after a few moments, there are more pursuers, and they start firing at them right away. Jack holds the steering tight and turns it around rapidly to hit some of the pursuers with the car to throw them off, then asks Alice to try and quickly find an exit to the city immediately. She replies the exit is actually on the opposite side, which leaves Jack dumbfounded, since it'll be a problem to turn around the car in their situation. It'll not only take unnecessary time, but also halt their speed. Alice uses magic on the car, and suddenly Jack feels the whole car shaking as the car's tires transformed into hands and turned the whole car 180 degrees in reverse. Jack kept sitting tight as the whole car turned around just like that, leaving him speechless for a moment. He asked Alice what she did. She replied it was a simple command to Golem to spin around, since it would have been a chore to actually turn around the car normally. Now, she tells him to just go straight, and Jack pulls the gas since they're already in the right direction now. This whole ride was thrilling for Alice, and Jack is glad she's finding something good even in this situation. He just smashed straight through everything in the way, thinking for a moment that ethically, whatever he's doing is messed up. But personally, our guy's loving it so much he doesn't give a shit. Alice asks him if he likes this car. Jack loves it, and he wishes he could bring this car back to his old world. Alice was thrilled to hear that, and she thinks it can be improved even more, so she's open to any suggestions he gets. Jack can't wait to see how this car is going to be after upgrades, and for now, they got a whole barricade of pursuers on the front, stationed with armory and cars. Jack doesn't think it could hold him back, but just in case he lets Alice know he'll ram through, so hold on tight. Alice asked him to wait a minute, and casted a magic on the car to change it into perfect shape to break through. While she was doing it, Jack was nervous about what would happen now, and the next moment, the car's shape changed for real into one with a pointy front, as if it got jaws right there. Jack thinks that's cool, and Alice asks if that will do it. He guarantees it's exactly what they needed and speeds up the car, not showing any signs of slowing down despite the barricade. The guards started firing at them, but when their speed didn't slow down one bit, guards prepared to fall back immediately, but Jack still smashed a couple of them, giving them a taste for blocking his path. Jack notices a guy in midair and catches him, only to ask if he's all right. The guard was confused by this situation, while Jack went on to ask the guy if he got some bullets on him since he's running out of them. The guard takes out his loaded gun, offering it to Jack in exchange for saving him, but simply takes the guns and ammos, thanks the guard, and releases him just like that. He told Alice he got a souvenir from one of the guards, and he's touched deeply by the hostility of nice guys here. She called him a joker for pulling pranks like that every few moments. Jack claims he's simply never been serious. Alice turns her eyes to the front and tells him the gate is nearby, pointing out in the direction of the right. It seemed to be shut tightly, but Jack doesn't care about that and plans to pierce through it. However, suddenly they had another guest coming, and Jack noticed a horse rode by a female knight, coming at them with angry eyes. Jack could see killing intent literally pouring out from her eyes, and he let Alice know it'll be a tough opponent. Alice informed him that Knight is the captain of the knight in this city and known as a famous hero of the kingdom, with her main weapon being a magic sword. Jack didn't want to hear more details or name of that knight captain or whatever, since she's going to be buried 6 feet under soon with his bombs. Jack throws bombs at her, but she manages to avoid the bombs with her fast horse. And despite his frequent bombs, none of them landed on her. He thinks she's more suited to be a jockey instead of a knight, and that horse of hers seems just as incredible. Alice tells him that it's not a horse, but a monster who is a distant cousin of dragons. It's way stronger and faster than horses, and they won't be able to lose her even in this car. Jack asks her if she feels disappointed since her car is being outdone, and she admits she indeed feels a little bit of it and gets mad. The knight's captain closes in and prepares to attack them. Jack casually greets her and asks if she wants to join them. She cursed him for all the destruction he caused, shouting she won't forgive him. She launched a slash aimed straight for his face, cutting through the car, surprising both Jack and Alice, leaving them in a pinch for a moment. However, the knight was shocked when her swing came to a stop. Alice was just as amazed, since Jack stopped the blade with his bare hands and remarked casually, "It's quite a sturdy sword." Alice tells him it's an enchanted sword, and its destructive power is incomparable to that of ordinary weapons, so he needs to be careful with it. Jack kept gripping the sword, while the knight shouted at him to let it go. But Jack isn't so easygoing and uses his foot to steer the wheel to the left and push the whole car into the knight. Her ride is crushed by the car and wall. Then the knight starts chanting a spell to activate her enchanted sword. Jack quickly let it go, after which the knight used its ride monster as a footing and jumped high up to save herself. Jack points out how heartless she is, to use her ride as an escape route, while he's the one to trample it with a car at the same time. The knight curses that terrible mouth of our protagonist and tells him to shut it, piercing the car's roof with her enchanted blade. Jack remains calm and thinks the car won't hold up long like this. Alice asks if he's all right. Jack replies it's nothing to worry about, as he takes out his gun and shoots at the knight. He wishes he had a submachine gun on him right now, and that aside, he keeps speeding up the car despite the closed gates and pierce through it, shattering the whole piece of thick wood in one go. Now that they are out, he asks Alice to set the car to autopilot, since it's time for him to get serious about the fight. He rattles his way to the car roof to face the knight captain head-on, telling her to get off. This ain't a free ride. She tells him he'll regret confronting her face-to-face like this, and once someone steps in her range, it's not easy for them to leave unscathed. But before she could swing her sword, Jack caught her hand, shot a death glare into her eyes, then stabbed her thigh with the dagger, which was faster in this range than a sword. Jack calls the knight a total noob in a fight. And while she's busy getting the dagger out of her thigh, Jack lands a surprise kick to her side and sends her flying away from the car. She keeps cursing him even in midair, while Jack is casually counting 3, 2, 1, triggering the bomb he planted on her just now. He smirks. That dagger with a bomb was a hit, and he might as well make some spares of them later. For now, he thinks he got a good sword from this fight and shows Alice the loot he obtained upon his return. She congratulates him making it back safely, and Jack is all excited as he initiates a high five to her. But she reacts weirdly to that since she doesn't know what this is. Jack explains what's a high five, and it's used in a situation to express happiness and sharing the hyped moments with one another. It's all about the vibe, simply. Alice seriously absorbs the information into her mind, after which she initiates the high five herself with a smile on her face. She asks Jack if he doesn't want to. Jack looks at her for a few moments and agrees to do a high five, obviously, since they make a great team. Later, Jack is kind of missing wine and cigarettes from his world. Alice states they can get it in the next town, so they should keep going for now. Jack is curious. Doesn't this car need to refuel or something? She replies there's no need, since golems absorb magical power from the air, and they will technically never run out of fuel in this car. Jack loves this car more he learns about it. If only he could take it back to his world, he would. However, Alice looks at the damages the car suffered from the fight, stating they can't go on like this and need to stop by somewhere to get materials for repairs and upgrades. Jack asks her if she has decided on their next location. She replies, there are a few options, out of which their best bet is the independent nation of Uria. Uria is a cluster of cities occupying the southern region of the continent, and it has a unique self-governing structure with 4 representatives, each governing their own territory. Jack finds it interesting, since an independent nation is never a peaceful place from his experience. Alice confirms he's right about it. Uria is home to countless criminal organizations, and the whole area is pretty much lawless, which also makes it perfect for them to lay low. Jack nods to that, considering an outlaw town is their best bet for a criminal like him. Alice also thinks that since Eureka's economic situation seems to be better than other regions, their tariffs are low, making trades there pretty active. So it'll be easy for her to find materials to repair the car there. Although, the catch is, it'll take them 10 days to get there through normal means, but if they pass through the danger zone, it'll take only 5. And this danger zone is the path crossing through the forest, filled with powerful monsters, and a normal person wouldn't wish to enter unless they got a death wish. But Jack claims they're not normal, so he'll choose this dangerous path. And out of curiosity, he asks Alice if she also has any other reason to suggest this way that much. Alice shows him 3 fingers, saying there are 3 reasons why they should choose this path. The first one's pretty simple because Jack is an OP guy, and even great heroes aren't as high level as him. And the knight captain he blew up earlier was level 70, while level 40 is an average for a good soldier in this world. So it should be clear how off the charts Jack is, and Jack knew he was strong, but this much was unpredictable. Alice then states the second reason, that she wants to level up as well, and if Jack defeats strong monsters, he will gain experience points inevitably. So, if she joins forces with Jack, she can also level up safely and it'll come handy in future. Jack thinks she got a point there. Then Alice states the third reason, which is good for Jack, as they can also gain monster materials to use in making more amazing bombs. Now that's what he wanted to hear, and she confirms there are a lot of uses for monster remains, and they are usually used to make weapons, but they also work as bomb materials, and some monsters have blood that works like explosives, and some of them can even pierce through armors. And if needed, Jack could also imbue them with magic spells. Jack is very much thankful to have a great alchemist with him, which makes Alice quite happy. Jack thought she was the quiet type, but when it comes to her speciality, she does talk a lot and is more expressive as well. Alice then asks him which way he wants to take now. Jack replies that's obvious, the shortest route, since only good things come from it. Just then, Jack noticed some more pursuers behind them, and it looks like they followed all the way from the city. Jack is annoyed by their persistence, and thinks it would be nice to have some weapons at this time. Alice gives him a modified gun, and he likes how well she understands him. Now, while he deals with the pests, he asks Alice to hang in there tight for a bit. This time, Jack distances himself from the car to avoid getting it damaged any further, and when the pursuers saw him approaching, they started firing at him right away. Jack could easily dodge the bullets, and he mocks this other world. Guys really either don't have a good training schedule or they slack on it a lot. Now he will show them the results of real training, as he points his gun at them. Jack aims at the tire of their car and lands a clean shot, and while the enemies are confused, he throws a tear gas bomb at them. The enemies didn't get any time to dodge and are caught up in the tears, while Jack is laughing as he likes toying with these guys. Now for the other car, he prepares himself to jump, and once he's above the car, he aims his landing right in the middle of the enemy's truck. His enemies were caught off guard by that, and Jack didn't give them any time to process and landed a punch straight in the face of one guard. Jack still doesn't have full control over his strength and ends up punching too hard. Blood splatters all over him and hinders his visibility a little. He had been trying to be careful since his fight with the gatekeepers earlier, but it seems he needs more practice. For now, he pierces the car's window with bare hands and chokes the driver. Their car eventually runs wild and has an accident, from which only Jack makes it out unscathed, leaving only the other car's pursuers. He heads over right in the middle of them and makes a grand welcome with a shot straight in a guy's head. After killing this bunch, he helps himself to some loot and manages to obtain quite a haul. He asks Alice to lend a hand. She uses her golem car to develop a few large hands and take stuff from Jack, also including some more useful materials from the back. To Jack, it all seems way too convenient, making him want to learn magic as well. But Alice tells him, unfortunately, he doesn't have capability to use magic, and if he had, at his current level, he would have already been able to use it by now. Jack finds the truth bitter, and he has totally given up on using magic thanks to a reality check from her. Later, they keep progressing through the dangerous zones, and Jack doubts there will be any roads for them up ahead since it's all a wild area. He asks Alice if she's sure they're heading to Urea. Alice confirms and takes out a magic compass, which is set on Urea. Jack finds it helpful. Then he notices golem hands are collecting some stuff from around them. He asks, "What's that doing?" Alice replies, "It's collecting useful things like materials and even food," handing out a fruit to Jack. Jack accepts it and praises her for being so thorough. And since the car's on autopilot anyway, he decides to make some bombs while he has some time. The car keeps moving. Further, while Jack is amazed that despite the constant shaking, he's able to successfully craft bombs, which is quite a nerve-wracking process. He crafts some Molotov cocktails and lightweight mini-bombs, and Jack is so intrigued, he wishes he could take this skill back to his world. Alice asks him if everything's going well. He agrees to her while cutting a branch from a tree outside, then crafting it into a bow with a knife. She remarks he's pretty skilled, then asks if he used to be an archer back then. Jack replies he only used bows a few times for work, since it's handy to have more cards. He even wished those soldiers had a bow, but unfortunately they didn't, which would have saved him some time. Now he made one himself, along with an arrow attached to a bomb. Alice thinks he could simply throw the bombs by hand. They'll go further since he's strong, but Jack admits it's true, but using a bow will increase his accuracy. And to demonstrate that and also test out the bow, he gets out to search for a target. After looking around a bit, his eyes fall upon a mantis-like monster. He asks Alice, "What's that?" She replies, "That's one of forest monsters, and it possesses strength comparable to a full squad of knights, with a shell tougher than metal. Its scythe-like forelegs are strong enough to pierce an armor." Jack didn't expect something like that to exist in the wild just like that. Then the mantis noticed him, which raised his guard. As the mantis prepares to approach them, Jack asks Alice to stop the car immediately. She asks if he'll be fighting it. Jack replies, "Yeah, that thing is perfect for a target, and he'll make sure to deal with it from this distance with the bomb arrow." He aims at the mantis, then Alice asks him to wait, after which she applies an enchantment spell on the arrow and enhances it further. Jack is amazed by the increased effectiveness of the bomb, and Alice states if she uses enchantment like this, she'll also gain experience points and level up efficiently. Jack thinks that's a nice idea and shoots the arrow at Mantis, landing a direct hit on its torso. The arrow came out to be more powerful than he thought, probably thanks to Alice's support magic. The Mantis was enraged, unaware that the arrow stuck on it was going to explode. The moment the arrow explodes, the Mantis body suffers a heavy blow and it falls down on the ground. Alice gives Jack another arrow to finish it off completely, and Jack does just that as he shoots the next arrow directly at the head of the Mantis. The Mantis dies from its head being blown up, and Jack thinks he might have a knack for archery as well, leaving him a backup if he ever runs out of money. Alice thinks if it's him, he will definitely make it to the top in any field. Jack chuckles, claiming she can praise him all she wants, but all he got is bombs. Now he wonders if they can use materials from that Mantis for something. She nods and suggests he collect them here. As their thrilling drive continues, they eventually run into more monsters like goblins, and Jack takes care of them with bomb arrows and some grenades he made earlier. After he killed them, Jack asked Alice what those monsters were. She replied they were goblins, who usually attack people in groups. Then they soon run into another monster. This time it's a wild boar monster, and Jack launches 2 arrows at the beast. But even after they dealt considerable damage, Jack wondered why that thing wasn't stopping. Alice explains a would-be boar would keep charging forward unless it falls down, in which case she tries to see where her golem's strength lies compared to that beast. But her golem hand is crushed by the wild boar pretty easily, meaning using golems is useless against it, and Alice needs to be higher level to defeat them. Jack looks at the wild boar, turning around to charge at them again, and this time he decides to test out the magic explosive he made by Alice's faulty recipe earlier. He throws the bomb at the boar and it deals a badass damage on that thing, making Jack more excited about trying that recipe again. Alice wonders why it was so effective, and thinks maybe they got lucky, because poorly crafted items are supposed to misfire or don't have much power. So, due to their uncertainty, they need to be careful. Jack finds it interesting, and as they keep going further, he confronts more types of monsters like snake monsters, bear monsters, and even giant turtles along the way. It's all like a monster parade, which makes him think they surely can't camp out in this forest at all. Alice points out it's thanks to Jack that her level is quickly rising as well. And come to think of it, Jack asks her what's her level right now. She answers when they met, it was 21, and now she has gone up by 7 levels. After Jack hears it, he thinks it's not that fast of a progress, but Alice reminds him it's a pretty steep rise. And Jack's case is an exception since he blew up the entire capital filled with people. Jack laughs it off, but when he checks his status, he feels pretty stunned to see he only went up 1 level so far. She explains it's because the higher his level, the more experience points one need to level up further. She then gives him bullets, enchanted with her magic, and the more monsters he defeats with her enchanted items, the stronger she'll become as well. Alice is counting on him to level up, and Jack thinks it's a nice thing for them, since he doesn't plan on giving her princess treatment in the future. He thinks of them as simply partners with aligned interests, although he does intend to protect her as much as possible. Her level is to ensure safety in unforeseen circumstances. Jack is handling monsters right now, but he thinks it would be good if she can survive on her own as well, although he's worried a bit, since he's not good at escort missions. Along the way, Jack notices the forest has become pretty quiet. Then Alice warns him not to. Let his guard down. She enhanced some more bombs in her free time, and Jack noticed the bombs she enchanted had boosted power and attributes. It piques his interest, and she briefs him on it, that it'll now also work on enemies immune to physical attacks. Jack finds it pretty useful since he could have magic bombs with her help. Out of curiosity, he asks her if she has figured out a way on how to destroy the world. Yet, Alice seems sad as she hasn't thought of anything yet, since destroying the world is an incredibly difficult task. And the fact that even the wars from the ages of gods were unable to wipe out human history is proof enough of how impossible it is. So, even if they take humanity's resilience at starting value, it seems hard to figure out the same thing for the whole world. Jack gives his 2 cents. He never really thought about destroying the world before. It's something one would only hear in comics or mangas. And here, he was unexpectedly asked to be a part of it. Moreover, he wonders if his skills would really be useful and make it possible to destroy the world. He may have blown up an entire city, but the whole world is different. However, he's intrigued to see if he could really make a bomb, capable of destroying the world. And before it explodes, he will find a way back to his world. Just thinking about it got him all excited and zoned out. And when Alice called him out, he was startled when he suddenly came out of his thoughts and looked all happy. Alice smirks, and mentions it seems she'll be getting a lot of help from Jack after all. Jack claims it goes both ways. And while they're at destroying the world, he wants her to remember about finding out about return magic for him, since it's a life and death matter. Alice agrees, and she knows if she slacks off even a little, Jack probably won't help her. Jack nods, saying he really hates being looked down upon, and if that happens, he might not stop at just not cooperating, but also end up making her look a little nasty. He gave off an intense pressure in that moment, and Alice, who could see hues of emotions, knows he means it for real. After a moment, Jack simply laughs it off, saying he's just kidding. And actually, he's kind to women and children, so his conscience won't let him do anything. But Alice knows that clearly wasn't a joke, but whatever, she doesn't have to worry since she has no intention of betraying Jack. She looks forward to working with him. And the same goes for Jack, and he counts on her as he offers a handshake. But Alice instead raises her hands, looking like she wants to do a high five. She maintains a straight face, and Jack just complies and gives her high five as well. Alice said it was a commemoration for confirming their partnership, so she thinks high five was important. Jack goes along with whatever she thinks, and he's kinda glad they managed to open up to each other somehow. It's a good sign since they'll be working together long term, and it'd be better if they establish some level of trust as well. Because he knows very well that a partnership that focuses too much on benefits will eventually fall apart. After all, humans are beings with feelings, and calculations alone will keep them alive. Out of nowhere, Alice states she would love to hear about Jack's world. Jack thinks for a moment about where to start. But suddenly he notices a shadow looming over their heads and coming straight for them. He quickly holds the steering and speeds up, and Alice holds on tightly, wondering what happened to sober him up all of the sudden. But the thing Jack feared followed them faster than expected, and they faced a huge dragon right in front of them, blocking their path. As the dragon descends, Alice informs Jack that a dragon is known as the ultimate predator in this world, a living calamity, and they better run. Otherwise, it won't end well for them. Jack can't help but feel thrilled in the face of great danger, and he spins off the car to make a run for it in the opposite direction. He figured a dragon must be a classic existence in the fantasy world after all, and now that he's facing one, he asks Alice to take over driving while he tries to buy them some time. He aims the arrow at the dragon, but the dragon closes in pretty fast, and Jack shoots the arrow at the very last moment at the dragon's eyes. The dragon is a little thrown off by the arrow and misses the claw. Jack wonders if they got it, but after a few moments, the dragon comes back to focus, and it seems the arrow missed the eye and landed close to it. Jack feels damned, and he never wanted a rocket launched more than this moment before. Alice informs him that a dragon's scales have built-in defensive magic, and half-baked attacks won't work on it. Jax thought this area had monsters within his level range. Alice says it's just rotten luck of theirs to encounter a dragon here, as they don't live around these forests. Jack laughs out loud. To think this lizard came all the way to see him excites him even more. But he doesn't have time to attend to his fan here, and it doesn't look like the dragon will give him any time either. Jack throws some bombs at the dragon's approaching claw, saving their necks again just in time. But the dragon still managed to shatter some rocks from the ground, and Jack, who thought he almost got it, was startled when the rocks started falling all over them. It was insane, and he hates the dragon even more, while the dragon doesn't seem to give a dime for anything except crushing them. It lets out an extremely fierce roar, and Jack swears at the dragon and throws more bombs at him. Jack doesn't want to lose to a big dumb lizard, and he prides himself as the bomber who wiped a city off the map. He throws in a mix of different bombs into the dragon's mouth, and the dragon, who thought he got the prey, regretted his choice when the bombs exploded within its mouth, while the dragon suffered some real damage. Finally, Jack was thrilled as he jumped in joy, being proud of the tear gas and explosive bombs mix he made. If the dragon wants more, he can keep going with the same recipe. Jack was enjoying himself boasting his bombs to the dragon. Then Alice, in an alerting voice, told him to quickly watch ahead. When Jack turned around, he was shocked to find there was no more path, but a cliff waiting ahead of them. Jack asks her if the path she narrated was right. Alice points out they already got lost from that path during the dragon chase, and the timing can't be any worse, as on one side the dragon is chasing them, while the other side is a dead end. Since driving off the cliff wasn't an option, Jack considered trying to lose the dragon by turning around and rushing into the forest. But the dragon instantly landed an attack on the backside of the car, making a big hole with its claws. Jack curses the dragon, swearing to make it pay for the damages. But they have more problems at hand, so Alice tries to use magic to help their car out of this situation. But she is unable to control her golems due to the dragon's stuck claw, which must have damaged the golem's cores. Exactly what Jack didn't want to hear, and he could see some fear in Alice's eyes. He decides to man up and heads out of the car to do something about the situation himself. He stares straight into the dragon's eyes. Then the dragon moves its claw and pulls the whole car along with it. Jack and Alice somehow stick to the car, while the dragon seems to be laughing at them. Jack was pissed to be treated like a toy, and he thought deep. Since his weapons don't work against this guy, will he really have to resort to that last option? He was very uncertain if it'll work or not, but there's no other way to find out than just doing it. So he throws a punch at the dragon's claw without any hesitation, putting all his power behind it. His bare fist clashed against the dragon's claw, and to his surprise, he actually managed to break a claw off the dragon, releasing their car successfully from the dragon's grasp. It made him feel a great sense of achievement while the dragon was in shock and flew away from the car in a strategic retreat. Jack can't stop celebrating his victory over the dragon, feeling awesome about his powerful level. But Alice got some real bad news for him. They're already falling down the cliff. Jack felt damned upon the realization, and both he and Alice can't do anything except await the inevitable fall down the cliff. They fell down in a river, flowing at the bottom, and thanks to his level, Jack managed to survive the fall, and he immediately swam up and headed to the car to make sure Alice was safe. He pulls the car along with him and carries Alice outside, ensuring she's alive. They got in some real mess now, and thankfully she only seemed to have broken one arm from the fall. But she didn't show any sign of waking up anytime soon, so Jack patched her hand up, feeling grateful that they survived despite that fall. Jack isn't worried about his wounds, since they have already healed thanks to his robust stats. And the fact that even Alice made it out alive means she must have used some magic to soften the impact of fall. Well, she indeed has lived through 13 lives, so she won't die from a mere fall. Jack brings out some food from the wet lunchbox. But as expected, it tastes horrible, as if he's eating old shoe leather. He directs his anger at the damn dragon and starts thinking of ways he could deal with a flying enemy like that. He thinks back that nothing from bombs to tear gas worked on that thing, and the only real damage came from his lucky punch. But it would be a pain to get so close just to land a hit on that thing. And he also lacks firepower to even get that dragon to react, so he needs to come up with a way to deal a solid blow to that thing from range. He thought for a moment. If he had weapons from his old world, the problem would be solved in one shot, but since that's not possible, he will have to build something worthy of it himself. Either way, he doesn't feel like forgiving that dragon, and swears he will kill off that damn lizard the next time they meet for sure, then follow up by roasting it and throw a feast for himself. Then he heard some sounds of the water flow slowing down ahead. Thankfully, the car stopped flowing and he got down from the car and tried to start it, but no luck. Jack opened the engine, but the whole thing was alien to him, so he couldn't do anything about this magic-powered vehicle. His only option to have this car work is to wait for Alice to wake up. But since he needs to do something to keep them alive and safe, he decides to push the car out of the water himself. He didn't want Alice to be hurt, so he was very gentle in doing so as he pulled the car to a safe place first. He glanced over at Alice and tried to wake her up, but she fainted deeply, and it seems she will take a while to wake up. Jack could always just force their way through, but it would be dangerous for Alice if they come across monsters with magic. Thus, even though he doesn't like it, Jack needs to stay put for a while. He wants to give it a try to study magic later, since he doesn't like being useless in any situation. But learning new things at his age could be difficult. But he can't stay idle forever either. And just then, Jack hears some noise from behind him. He grows alert and hides behind a rock, observing the sounds and realizing something or someone is heading this way. And it could be people or monsters. Fortunately, it seemed to be a bunch of short people, but Jack is still wary of them and keeps his gun handy in case he needs to use it. Moreover, he feels alerted to those guys, and even though he could deal with them pretty easily, he needs to pick his choices wisely for Alice's sake, since she's the one who will find his ticket to home. While the dwarves look around while walking further, Jack decides to just observe what they do first, preparing to fight and kill them if necessary. Just then, a dwarf senses him, and Jack wants to avoid any fight if possible. The dwarf throws a question in the air. Who is there and what is he doing? He claims this is dwarf turf, and the other dwarfs wonder if it could be poachers. Jack picks between his choices to fight or not and decides to just come out clear and ask them to wait. He is honest to them that they got it wrong. He's not a poacher at all. The dwarves seem to be understanding, which just works out for our protagonist, and he shares a bit of his story of how he ended up here after being chased by a dragon, getting his golem car damaged while fleeing from it, and eventually fell off a cliff and drifted here. He makes it clear he wasn't trying to invade their land, and if they show him the way out, he will gladly leave right away. So he asks them for a guide to outside, but the dwarves were already amazed when they heard Jack fought off a dragon. They ask him twice if that's true. Jack confirms it and asks them to look for themselves at this fragment of the dragon's claw that is stuck there in the car. The dwarf wanted to have a closer look. Jack allowed it without minding, and the dwarves all surrounded the dragon's claw as if it was something precious. It was truly unbelievable for them. While Jack could see they were just excited by it, the dwarfs had to admit this was a real dragon's claw and asked where he got it again. Jack repeated it was a souvenir he won from his fight against the dragon, and the dwarf doesn't think those eyes of Jack are one of liars. Yet it was hard to believe a human fought the dragon and survived. Jack claims he will surely take down that dragon next time, and the dwarves think of him as a solo dragon slayer. Jack expresses his deep desire to roast that lizard alive, for which he is ready to track that thing down anywhere and blow it to hell. Dwarves are moved by his courage. Then they ask him if that girl over there is his wife. Jack states she is just his travel companion, and she actually broke a bone from the fall, but thankfully made it out alive. Dwarf thinks it must be fate that brought them together, and invites Jack to their village to rest. Jack doesn't agree right away until the dwarf tells him he should come, since his girl is out cold and his ride's also busted. If he wants, they can fix the car at the village. Jack thinks that's a tempting offer, but there should be something more to it. Dwarf nods and points at the dragon's claw, asking for a few pieces of that dragon's claw. Jack agrees to trade it, and the dwarf explains that the dragon's claw, even a thumb-sized piece of it, is valued highly, and even medicine made from it is worth a fortune. Jack likes the idea and strikes a deal with the dwarves, and the dwarf likes the man for being reasonable. The dwarves ask him to follow them, as they will guide him to their village, although they ask if he will need any help since there's a slope ahead. Jack claims he'll be fine and ties a rope to the car and pulls it with just one hand like it's no big deal. The dwarves think he's pretty amazing and strong, and they wonder what his muscles are even made of. The dwarf at front asks the others to quiet down and says sorry to our protagonist for the noise. Jack didn't mind it and thinks it's good to keep things lively. But even though these dwarves seem to be friendly, Jack decides to stay cautious regardless, since he's heading to the den of strangers he just met. He doubts if Alice were awake. Would she get along with these dwarves or not, since she's usually the quiet type? Then the dwarf asked him where those two were headed, since there's no town around here. Jack replies they are going to Urea, and we're actually using the forest path to save them some time. Dwarf thinks he's pretty bold to pick this dangerous path, which makes sense since Jack is strong enough to drive off a dragon. On the path, they came across some worm-like monsters, and a dwarf alerted others about them. The other dwarves seemed pretty happy to come across them, and they said things like, "It's a big haul today, calling for a feast." They made sure not to let a single of those worms get away, and headed straight off to hunt them down if they were pretty used to them. Jack asked curiously if they eat these things, or if he also lent a hand, but the dwarves were fine. They asked him to just guard the girl. Jack thanked him for the heads up, and soon enough they finished the hunt, then progressed further to the town of dwarves. Once they arrived, Jack was pretty amazed seeing such a civilization based underground, with a slight opening in the ceiling, which isn't a sight he had seen anywhere before. The dwarf welcomes him to their village and asks him to make himself home out of goodwill. As they went further into the town, all Jack could see were friendly dwarves, though there were no other races around. He figured outsiders must rarely visit this place, which also assured that the dwarves must not have heard of his deeds yet. He was wary of everyone, since he knows how things could get ugly for being different in the house of another race. But his doubts faded slowly when the dwarves looked at him with friendly eyes. Then the dwarf who brought him said he'll introduce Jack to their elder, and Jack had no objections with it. When they arrived at the elder's house, the dwarf suggested he should have the girl treated first, but Jack decides to keep her with him since they're only here to greet the elder. He carried her on shoulder to ensure that he would be there if she needed him. Her abilities are totally irreplaceable, so if anything happens, he will be able to protect her if he is with her. Now, the dwarf suggests he'll have someone watch over the luggage. Jack didn't mind that, only because he thought even if someone does steal it, he can always take it back by force. Of course, if necessary. He's got all sorts of counters already prepared in mind for all worst-case scenarios, and the dwarves around him feel a chill all of a sudden. Jack doesn't think he will have to worry much about anything, since dwarves seem to be decent with no malice in their eyes. Once they enter, the dwarf goes in calling for his father, saying they got guests, after which he asks to take a seat while the elder is seated in the front. Jack notices the dwarf who brought him is the elder's son, and the dwarf informs the elder that he brought a human man and a woman. Jack introduces himself and Alice, then summarizes their situation. They were pretty much drifted all the way here and the elder's son saved them. But unexpectedly, the blind elder tells his son that he brought quite the dangerous man with him. The elder have the power to see through one's soul, and Jack understood it's something similar to Alice's ability. He comes out clean to the elder that he's not exactly a pure-hearted person and never been the type to walk on the right path. Elder calls Jack a smooth talker and states they don't really judge one's deeds or whatever that happened outside their walls, since they don't have interest in the outside world at all, and he only cares about their village and its future. Jack thinks the elder is quite reasonable to not pry much despite seeing through his soul. Now, the elder asks Jack what brought him here to their town. Jack replies he's here for Alice's treatment and vehicle repairs, and he has already paid a fair amount for it. The elder's son shows the elder a piece of dragon's claw, saying Jack got this dragon's claw after his encounter with one earlier. The elder couldn't believe it at first, until he confirmed the dragon claw's authenticity himself. Still, he asks just in case if Jack didn't just happen upon it. Jack replies he'd never stoop so low to fool others, and it's a genuine dragon claw he himself got by smashing the dragon's claw with his own damn hand. The elder listened to him as he finished the story, stating his vehicle ended up getting wrecked, after which the elder mentioned the dragon showed up about 10 days ago and made its home in the mountains near their village. It's likely a rogue dragon cast out by other dragons, and the troubling part is that whenever it flies around, it devours whatever it spots, and it even eats some dwarves. The elder became silent after saying all that, which annoyed Jack, and he asked Elder if he had something to say. Elder remarks, Jack is quite sharp to catch it, but Jack doesn't entertain any vague flattery and asks the old guy to come straight to the point. The elder's son asked him to show respect to the elder, but Jack doesn't care and grabs the elder's collar, telling him to think carefully about his next words because Jack really hates being used, and if he got a favor to ask, the man should say it straight. The dwarf elder apologizes, then out of nowhere swings his arm with a small dagger, which Jack barely managed to dodge. The elder then aims straight for Jack's neck, and he grabs the old geezer's arm and throws the old man out of balance to create an opportunity so he could pull out his gun and aim it at the old man's neck. The dwarf froze at his defeat, while Jack warned him not to think Jack will go easy on him just because he's blind. Elder surrenders and simply walks ahead to his seat, then starts laughing at the same time. The elder asks Jack to forgive him, saying he just wanted to test him a bit, since the best way to know a man is to cross blades. Although he didn't really expect Jack's reflexes to be that fast. Jack is puzzled by the old man's words, then asks the elder's son what the hell is going on here. He replies that his father is the village's biggest battle lover, so he just finds excuses to spar whenever. Jack is visibly bothered by such behavior of the dwarf elder already, whereas the elder praises Jack he's a fine warrior, since he doesn't rely on his level alone and hone his skill as well. He welcomes Jack with wholeheartedly now since Jack passed his test, and the elder son wasn't expecting his father to pull off such a move in front of their new guest. Later, Alice woke up and found herself in a bed, and Jack was sitting in the same room when he saw Alice wake up and asked if she slept well. Alice wished him morning, and he asks how she's feeling now. Alice claims it's nothing bad, just a broken bone, that's all. Jack tells her it's from the fall and says, sorry for not protecting her better at that time. She told him not to worry about it since it wasn't his fault. Moreover, she can heal these wounds herself with magic pretty easily. Alice healed her wounds instantly and was functioning properly as if nothing happened at all. Jack was impressed by her amazing skill, and she told him that her third life was a healer, so she never had to worry about wounds. Jack finds it convenient, then she asks him where they are right now. He tells her the story. They are in Dwarves' village right now, and after she collapsed, he met them in the underground caves and they treated him like loyalty. Alice figures it's no wonder, since dwarves respect strength. Moreover, Jack states he also got a lot of souvenirs from the dwarves, as if he's some hero. Alice thinks it's kinda but too much for them to eat, but that's not all. And Jack adds they are even going to throw a feast in their honor tomorrow. He mentions they must be thrilled about the dragon hunt, which is news to Alice's ears, and Jack informed Bapididi that he got the task to slay the dragon, which is fine with him since he wanted to kill that lizard anyway. Alice thinks it'll be beneficial for them, and Jack continues that the elder is a reasonable guy. Jack just used the claw shard in negotiations, and in exchange they will repair their ride and even help him forge new weapons. And lastly, he finally got the most wanted booze and cigar from the dwarves, although they got only herbal ones here. Finally, the world's starting to look better to Jack, while Alice looks at the booze and he asks her if she can even handle alcohol. She states a little won't hurt, so Jack prepares 2 glasses for both of them, then asks what they shall toast to. Alice thought hard, then replied, they will toast to the short life of the dragon. Jack thinks that's perfect and they both toast to it, enjoying the drinks together. Later, Jack was walking around with some tools when he saw Alice was using golems and also getting help from the dwarves for her car repairs, along with some ideas to embed magic stones in it. He thinks she is hitting it off with dwarves after all, opposite to what he expected. Then he asks Alice how's the repair work going. She replies it's going smoothly, and dwarves are really helpful in it, especially when they also have a lot of time or energy around this area. She can also use a lot of new ideas on it. Jack can't wait to see the repairs done soon. She tells him to keep working on crafting bombs for him as well. Jack sits down with all the tools and materials, thinking of possibilities of bombs he could craft for dragon hunting. He got materials from the hunting before, and also more materials given by the dwarves, so he could definitely improve the explosive power significantly, which should be a big jump from earlier. After some hours, Alice went to check up on Jack to check on his progress. Jack had made a couple of dragon claw bombs, with power over 10,000 and some solid defense penetration skills. Moreover, he also added magic fluid to the explosive among his creations, which makes his current set of bombs second only to the city core bomb. And lastly, he came up with a clever idea to make some adhesive bombs with slimes. Alice didn't expect even slime could be used to make bombs, which is a pretty good plus point, as it makes the target more susceptible to magic. She thinks using it will definitely weaken the dragon's defenses, and if they throw in a magically enhanced bomb more, it'll be even better. Although, one thing that surprises her is that slime bombs can never be strong, thus the one made by him is quite amazing. She asked him the ratios, and he details her on the mixing ratios, which totally don't make sense to her at all. She remarks it could only work because of his skill, since that recipe doesn't make sense at all. Jack thinks the same, that making all these bombs regardless of the right or wrong ratios is pretty amazing. While in the previous world, he was always super sharp about the ratios since they could blast off in his hands as well if not done right. Thus, right now, he went a little extra on crafting and tested out more prototype bombs. Some shouldn't even have a 1% chance of success. Yet here they are. He throws one of them and it explodes just like any other bomb, reminding both of them how much of a skill Jack really has, defying the very laws of this world. Jack smiles, then asks about her progress. She told him the car is all good now. She even doubled the number of golems from 10 to 20. And the final result turned out to be a robust car and Jack went crazy all over it. He can't believe she made this baby in just a day.